As you can see, this is the kit that I started with. It is the Monogram 1956 Chevy. And the first thing that I needed to do with this is decide how exactly I wanted to build it. I decided to go the gasser route, which ended up creating a little bit of work suspension-wise, front suspension-wise specific, in order to get the look and the stance of a gasser. So let's do a little history lesson on what a gasser is for those that do not know. The whole purpose of the gasser concept is not just to look cool, but there is functionality involved in it. The front suspension on these vehicles is normally a parallel leaf type with a beam or tube style axle. This raises the front suspension of the vehicle, so the weight transfer is more efficient and effective. What this does is when you would launch the car real hard, the weight would transfer to the rear axle and the back of the car. It provided better traction. As mentioned earlier, going the gasser route with this particular model kit does require some modification. In fact, the entire front suspension needed to be scratch built. As you can see here, the upper A-arms are molded to the crossmember and the frame rails on this. They were promptly removed and a scratch-built front suspension was created. So I've got myself some sheet plastic and added a little heat to that and put them in the vise and bent those so that they would hold their shape. And then I needed to add the beam axle, the bracketry to mount this to the frame of the vehicle, and also some actual spindles and kind of something that resembles steering linkage. One of the things that I don't really care for with this kit is the limited amount of options available for building this kit. For example, you have stock parts, so you can build it right from the factory. You don't have very much in the way of options, for example, for wheels. So I had to go through the old parts box again and find myself a set of front mags that would correctly suit the style of this build. I luckily did find some slicks in my parts box, and I took some stock wheels that were also from the parts box and kind of give them a little chrome action. So they resemble chrome reverse wheels with the front mags. I thought that combination worked well. The only other options that come with this kit is that you can actually build the engine with a blower. Supercharge! And I thought that was going to be the best selection for the style of the kit. As you can see here, these are a couple of mock-up photos because as I'm establishing the front suspension and the rear suspension, you need to take a good look at it to make sure that it is going to have the stance that you want. Sometimes you can get that front end way too high in the air and it looks a little goofy, or maybe it's not high enough. The back end's too low. So it took a little bit of time messing around with some mock-ups to get the stance on this the way that I really wanted it. I think it turned out pretty nice. Other than the front suspension, honestly, a lot of this kit was built pretty much right from the box. Not a whole lot of modifications. I did take most of the emblems off of the body just because I wanted to, because I like the way that looks better. And realistically, at that point, it got to what colors are we going to paint this particular gasser? And I decided I wanted to go two-tone with it, but I was still undecided on colors. As I sat and stared at a primered body, trying to determine what might look cool, a couple of different things went through my mind, and I finally ended up with this combination, orange and silver. And it kind of reminds me of one of those creamsicles that you used to be able to get from the Bad Humor Man, with the truck that would roll around your little town there dinging its little bell. People would be chasing it after trying to get some ice cream. But it reminded me, the color combination kind of reminded me of one of them there orange sickles. The orange creamsicle is what this color combination kind of reminded me of. Of course, it's silver and not white, but you know what I'm saying anyway. The orange creamsicle gave me the inspiration to call this particular build the Screamsicle. Get it? Ha 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 ha. The paint on this particular build did take a little bit of time doing the two-tone on it. The paint in and of itself is Createx Auto Air. The orange is candy, which you end up applying over basically an aluminum colored base. The orange on this car is actually a buildup of two separate candy colors. I started off with a sunset, that's the name of the color, and as I was spraying it, I realized that it was coming out way too light. It was more yellow gold than it was orange. And for those that know how to spray candies, you know you build up those coats, and that's how the color starts to come about. You know, it's also what gives it the depth. But I noticed that these colors, even when I was building them, were not kind of right along the darkness depth that I really wanted, and it was because I accidentally picked up the wrong bottle of paint. So after 2 or 3 coats of that color, I finally realized what I had done wrong and switched over then to candy orange and built that up over top. It actually, with the combination of the two together, layered, actually gives it a little bit of an interesting hue. I like it. I think it turned out nice. And once this was cleared, it really made those colors pop. And as you can see in these photos, the painting is all complete. The bare metal foil application is complete. The little details have been taken care of. Interior, obviously. But as I mentioned before, a lot of this build, outside of that front suspension modification, an actual replacement, really. Other than that, this was almost basically an out-of-the-box build with a couple of little changes here and there as far as the tires were concerned, or the tires and the wheels are concerned. Did not like the custom wheels that came with it, and I wasn't about to use the stock 55 hubcaps, or the stock 56 hubcaps for that matter. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.